Welcome everyone to the State of the Manufacturing Sector Survey. This year, our launch comes at an opportune time as the new government takes office. The Manufacturing Sector Survey seeks to provide the following: business with a lobbying position and a reference point, government with information on the current status and obstacles to economic growth, academia with information for analyzing the current business environment. Currently, the economy is facing stagnation with a slowdown in GDP growth due largely to a lower than expected agriculture and mining performance. What does this mean for industry? The crisis deepens. More industry closures and industrial downsizing. The 2012 survey called for decisive action, with CZI categorically stating that if the current status quo is maintained, this will be catastrophic to industry. So where does industry stand today? Survey results show the deepening of the industrial crisis. Since the launch of the survey, we have not seen the implementation of any new policies, and this has only served to worsen the situation. Now a look at a summary of our key findings. Capacity utilization, which had begun to rebound in 2009, has begun to regress. In 2011, capacity utilization had peaked at 57.2%. This year, average capacity utilization stood at 39.6%. Only 35.7% of respondents recorded capacity utilization of above 50%. A closer look at capacity utilization by sector. Looking at the top 5 performers from last year, all 5 have dropped in terms of capacity utilization. Of great note was the drop in pharmaceutical sector, where average capacity utilization has dropped from 58% to 20%. Looking at the bottom 4 performers from last year, on a positive note, grain millers have increased from 30% in 2012 to 50% in 2013. In terms of performance, the highest capacity utilization was recorded for the bakers sector at 82.5%, with the lowest subsector performing at 11.8%. So what is causing the drop in capacity utilization? Have the capacity constraints changed? Here we look at the top 5 constraints in 2012 and 2013. Still topping capacity constraints is the issue of funding. However, of concern is the increase in the number of companies that have pointed to low domestic demand as a factor. In line with the drop in capacity utilization, a total of 45% of respondents highlighted that there has been no change in business viability. Majority of companies pointed out that the current economic environment was not conducive for business. From the survey results, 12.5% of the respondents pointed out to competition from imports being a factor affecting business. So where are these imports coming from? 85% pointed South Africa, 67% China, India contributed 31%, and Brazil 15%. Moving on to trade. Companies highlighted the following as challenges faced when importing. 1. High cost and delays caused by domestic transport. 2. Cumbersome import procedures. 3. SIMRIS system inefficiencies. And 4. Trade barriers. On the export front, export performance largely remained unchanged. So why are companies not exporting? The main challenges faced by most companies is that local products remain uncompetitive in both regional and international markets. Adding to this is the fact that companies that have orders are failing to meet these orders due to lack of working capital. So why do our products remain uncompetitive? Companies are faced with high production cost as well as lack of knowledge of export markets. In terms of market share, Zambia retained its number 1 position. Interesting to note was an increase in the market share of South Africa from 12% to 18%. Moving on to finance and investment. Finance remains a critical component for the revival of the manufacturing sector. In terms of capital investment, only 40% of the respondents undertook investment in the past year, of which 90% went into machinery and equipment, with the remainder going into land and buildings. Capital investment largely served the purpose of machinery replacement and expansion. So where did this funding come from? The majority of capital investment was done through profit plowback, with 36% of respondents having accessed bank loans and only 5% using FDI funds. So what are the key factors affecting competitiveness? Now we'll take a closer look at some of these factors affecting competitiveness. Infrastructure. The current poor state is impeding any meaningful economic growth. Identified as the most problematic areas in this front are 1. Power cost and shortages. 2. Water shortages. 3. Poor road infrastructure and network. 4. An underdeveloped rail network. The following were identified as the major factors affecting doing business. 1. Electricity charges. 2. Aging equipment. 3. Corruption. 4. Domestic demand. 5. Restrictive labor regulations. So where do we stand as an economy according to the industrialists? It is clear that the current environment is not conducive for business. There is an urgent need to stop the industrial Armageddon currently underway. And with the coming in of the new government, this is an opportune time to implement key policies. So the questions are, what are the key imperatives for deindustrialization? How can we redefine the manufacturing sector to ensure competitiveness? What needs to be done to unlock the much-needed funding? How do we ensure strong, meaningful linkages with other sectors? Questions, questions, questions. Who has the answers? It is us as business, government, and academia who have the answers. This year, the CZI Annual Congress will focus on answering all of the above questions. So join us at our Annual Congress, where these and many other issues will be tackled by the new government, business, and academia. Thank you.